Good morning, Lourdes.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm doing well today. I'm doing well. How about
Excellent.
yourself? How are you doing?
Terrific. Absolutely terrific. I was at a chamber breakfast this morning, meeting and saying hello to old friends and new. So
Oh,
all good.
very, very nice. Well, I was able to do a couple of trades this morning, so I'm up in the market. I'm fine. Before my day starts, do my day trading. Uh, so, welcome back to Coaching Conversations. If um, if you're feeling stretched too thin, overwhelmed, or like you're busy, not fulfilled, you're in the right place.
Yes, today we're unpacking something powerful from a philosopher who saw through all the noise of life, but we're translating it through the lens of neuroscience, psychology, and real life. And it's not about history, it's about right now.
Yeah, because let's be honest. Life gets loud, and most of us get pulled into these loops. Working harder, doing more, scrolling, comparing. Just like people did hundreds of years ago. And if we look back at any point in history, you'll see that the same thing that we're caught up in now, people were caught up back then. Ambition, drama, that craving for validation, and unfortunately, getting sick from it. Obviously, love, falling in love, then also having stress. I mean, that has to sound familiar to you, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And here's the takeaway: none of it lasted, none of it left a trace. And it begs the question, what are you pouring your energy into today? And we're not saying your work doesn't matter or that relationships aren't important. What we are saying is if you never zoom out, you'll miss the truth that your life is happening right now, not someday.
Right. You know, um, that's just the thing. We we think that our lives are forever, right? But the truth is that our lives start or exist in the moments that we're present, right? So what you give your attention to. And Dr. Andrew Huberman, he's a neuroscientist. He explains that your attention literally shapes your brain. What you focus on, you wire in. So, are you wiring in stress or are you wiring in peace? And that's your power. You can choose what you give your energy to. But first, you have to notice what you're actually spending it on. You have to hone in that awareness, that presence.
Yes, and it's interesting that you brought up the neuroscience, right?
Mhm.
This idea of, for example, mindfulness practices that expand certain areas of your brain and or they turn certain areas of your brain on and turn down other areas of your brain. So the ones that are linked with rest and digest get turned on, fight and flight get turned down. And you really are changing your brain, not only what it looks like, but how it
Mhm.
works with something as simple and accessible as a mindfulness practice. So that's like really on point. And, in addition, a lot of us are running after things that we don't actually want: titles, likes, recognition, hustle points, right? But
Right.
as Dr. Laurie Santos teaches in The Science of Well-Being, those things don't create lasting happiness. They might create distraction, they might feel exciting in the moment, but real fulfillment that comes from intentional action, purposeful connection, and alignment with your values.
Right. We have to remember that our emotions, they're built for meaning, not circumstances. That means you could achieve the things and still feel empty if it doesn't align with you. So you don't have to do everything. In fact, you can stop right now and say, what's one thing I'm spending too much energy on and it isn't feeding me back?
Right. Or it's feeding you something that you don't want, right? Because
Right.
if you spend your time dwelling on, for example, past occurrences that didn't go well, then that's what you're feeding. Um,
Mhm.
you've probably heard this term, the grass grows where you water it. Or
Mhm.
another idea is, when you plant a seed, it's the ones that you nurture that will actually flourish. So our energy flows where our attention goes. And if your attention is constantly hijacked by what people think or chasing productivity to establish your worth, then you're most likely going to burn out. But the alternative is to do less, but make it mean more. And this is where boundaries come in. This is where clarity about what is truly meaningful, that needs to win in your life.
Yeah, I mean, very, well said, because, it's not about quitting everything and moving to the mountains. It's about asking, what are my values? Am I living in a way that reflects them? And at the end of the day, it's our relationships. It's not the status, not the money, that predict a happy life. So don't sacrifice connection. You're actually sacrificing your happiness.
Right. And so let this be your invitation to reset, to come back to what actually matters, because you can still win, build, and grow, and do it with peace. You don't need to earn peace, you need to remember it. It's already in you. That seed of peace is already within you, and you need to nurture it. And when you choose alignment over image, that is what will flourish.
Yeah, because when you stop overthinking or overworking for validation and you just start showing up with intention, everything shifts because you're present, you're aware, you come full. You're not just showing up and don't know what's going on. You're not just, you know, being there and just seeing what happens. You show up with intention, and that's very powerful. And you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You have to be present. You have to be real.
Yeah, and being present and real and intentional, let that form the core of who you are and how you show up intentionally, right? So let's break this down into some steps you can actually use today. So start with awareness. Ask yourself each morning, what actually matters today? And let that question guide your energy. So many people that I talk to, they have these enormous to-do lists, and they look at their endless list and immediately become overwhelmed with what it is that they have to do. And then sometimes they'll seek to alleviate that discomfort and just distract themselves, moving themselves further away
Mhm.
from actually getting anything done because now they're binge watching something on the TV or whatever it might be. But it's like hone it down into what actually truly matters today and just whittle it down to that 1 or 2 or 3 things that you really want to attend to and ignore the rest for the moment, right? And then the next thing is to reflect with intention. In the evening, journal and ask yourself, did I spend today in alignment with my values? Or was it spent in reaction to my fears? And let this self-reflection guide you for the next day, right?
Absolutely. And we think that scrolling and doing everything that we do on our phones and following social media and all of those things, that's there's a place for that. And yeah, it's good to have that distraction occasionally, but really protect your attention. Set a boundary with one of these distractions, whether it's a person, social media habit, or your thought, whatever is like really draining your peace. A lot of times that social media stuff will drain you just because of that comparison that you're doing, comparing your life to somebody else's life, or in every way. I'm speaking about fashion, luxury, food, those comparisons, those they drain you. And speak from truth in your conversations, right? Just take a minute, pause, and ask, is what I'm about to say aligned with who I'm becoming or who I want to become?
Absolutely. And so make it a habit to ask yourself, what am I giving my energy to right now? And follow up with curiosity. Is it a life, am I living a life that reflects my values or one that keeps me distracted? So, this week we challenge you. Pick one thing to drop, one distraction, one performance loop, one empty pursuit, and choose presence instead.
Right. You're not here to chase status. You're here to live fully, purposefully, and clearly. So thanks for being with us. If this sparked something in you, drop a comment. What's one thing you're letting go of so you can make space for what matters? Or if you've already let go of something and you found more space for what matters, share that too. Sharing success is also a great way to help people move forward in their lives.
Absolutely. So, like Maria said, thank you for joining us. We see you, we're walking with you, and let's do it together, one aligned decision at a time.